people. Today I'm going to do a commentary on this dumb nigger who dares to defend the atrocious design of Peter Parker in the remastered Spider-Man game on the PS5. Wait, how dare you defend that god-awful design for the remaster for PS5? Anyone who likes that design needs to go into Vietnam and get their heads chopped off. You motherfuckers better agree with everything I say or else I will send a big fireball to your house and you will die a horrible death. Ow, ow, ow. Anyways, here we go. Wow. What a lame intro. Here, I'll change it for you. There, now that is an intro I can send to like wait.
What's going on, guys? RBG here, bringing you more news on Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, and boy do we have some funny stuff to go over.
Funny? What the fuck is so funny about game developers changing a design for a character, even a little? Changing the design for Peter in this game was the greatest sin in humanity, even worse than the Holocaust. Whoever's idea it was to change Peter's face needs to get stabbed. I wouldn't bleed to death.
Firstly, I just gotta say that Sony and Insomniac have been on a roll in regards to the hype train for this game in Spider-Man Miles Morales.
No! Sony and Insomniac are evil companies for ruining this game by changing Peter's face. And that means that Miles Morales and the PS4 version of this game suck now. Regardless, I haven't played any of these games, but I heard people on the internet say they were bad, so therefore they suck by default.
We're getting two awesome games that are going to take advantage of the PlayStation 5's hardware.
No! Spider-Man Remastered on PS5 sucks. How do I know this? Because I heard people on the internet bitching about the design, so that means the game sucks as a fact. Plus, video game companies should not take advantage of modern system hardware. Instead, they should make games that appeal to sniveling men children like me. That's why Sony sucks. They spend too much time taking advantage of the system's hardware when they should make more sexy furry games like Super Lucky's Tale. That fox is so sexy. I fan to him every day.
From the ray tracing to the updated hair and textures, and I'm very excited to jump in with both feet. Marvel Spider-Man was such a groundbreaking title for Sony, and they've been doing the brand so much justice.
No, they aren't.
We're finally getting the amazing Spider-Man suit we've been asking for since the game's announcement.
Who cares? Video game companies need to do everything the fans tell them to do. And if they do one thing wrong, then they need to be beaten half to death and then forced to watch their families get burned from the inside and then die a 10 times more painful death that would last an entire month. Ow, 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 ow. They would deserve it for not making a game exactly the way I wanted them to. Also, The Amazing Spider-Man sucks because it has bullies in it who don't get their comeuppance. Any movie that lets the bullies win sucks by default because my fuck buddy O3D good said so. Also, I've heard people on the internet say it was bad, so that makes it factually bad. So in that logic, anything from The Amazing Spider-Man is bad because The Amazing Spider-Man is a bad movie.
And we're more than likely to be getting the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit as well, considering how great it is. Even though there's been a little bit of controversy revolving around how Sony isn't going to allow previous purchasers of Marvel Spider-Man to simply transfer over their save data to the remaster, it still didn't stop us from being highly optimistic about it.
It should have. I hate Sony and Insomniac for that too.
That is until we got our
My eyes. How dare you traumatize me with that horrible face? I look so much better than that. Anyone who looks like that in real life needs to get their face chewed off by random dogs.
first look at the updated face for Peter Parker. Shortly after Sony showed off footage for Spider-Man Miles Morales at the PS5 showcasing, they gave details about the remastered version of the first entry, like how we be seeing better looking characters with improved skin, eyes, hair, and facial animations.
Better? How is that horrible face better?
And these improvements would feature their new next generation Peter Parker. And this announcement in particular had me hyped because I wasn't really too keen on their original version of the character. It wasn't necessarily a bad model.
How dare you hate the old design, you disgusting nigger? I hope you die from the coronavirus.
but it did seem a little off compared to the others that looked and moved more naturally. In some instances it looked normal, but in others it looked lifeless, not to mention that the hair looked out of place. But thanks to Yuri Lowenthal's stellar performance, I was able to overlook this small issue, and I think the face model really shines through towards the end during the more emotional sequences, so it grew on me. But I do understand why Insomniac would want to fix it, and I expected them to simply do an updated scan on the same model, but instead of doing that they went in an entirely different route. They opted to go with a different face model altogether.
That horrible face again. Hey Mom, can we get Spiderman? Mom, we have Spiderman at home. Spiderman at home. I'm so funny and original. That joke certainly hasn't been done to death.
And this decision has gotten an overwhelming amount of backlash. As you can see, this version looks extremely different from the Peter Parker we were introduced to, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yes it is. Any change in the game is bad and is a sin against humanity. All games need to stay the same as they always were because I said so.
Because in a lot of cases, the game protagonists change once the sequels roll around, whether it's due to improvements in the hardware or the design team wanted to make the character a little more lifelike. We've seen this done so many times with characters like Kratos, who's seen major facelifts in the God of War series.
Why would you choose to compare this game to God of War? Why not compare it to Yokai Watch or Loud House? Those are things that I said to, and I would use those characters to beat up this ugly face because I hate it.
So I myself didn't have a problem with seeing a new and improved Peter Parker, but where the problem lies for this update is that it looks fairly similar to his MCU counterpart Tom Holland.
Oh yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe sucks because it was made by Disney. Anything made by Disney sucks because Disney is a greedy money-grabbing company that is worse than ISIS.
When I initially saw the thumbnail to this reveal in my notifications, I thought it was one of those fan-made deepfakes where they take the actors' faces and place them on the video game characters, because it didn't seem like an official company like Sony would actually do something like that. But once I saw that this was legit, I couldn't do anything but laugh, because the resemblance between this character model and Tom Holland is uncanny. Like, this is literally what it would look like if Sony wanted to come out with a movie tie-in game called Spider-Man Far From Perfect.
It's so funny to take the last word on the name of a thing you don't like and change it.
I can only imagine the insane amount of mods people would do with this game if it was on the PC. You could literally just put this model's head on the MCU suits and casual gamers would think it's legit. Now, what I will say is that the quality in regards to its expressions is a vast improvement of the original. It looks very realistic. The way he interacts with Dr. Octavius just looks more natural too.
How dare you say good things about the new design? There is nothing good about this foreign design. You should get Chinese water torture just for saying one good thing about it.
But the decision to go with this particular model raised some interesting suspicions. Some fans have come to the conclusion that this was a corporate decision made by Sony. Given the fact that their sister company Sony Pictures has the rights to Spider-Man films, they could have decided to make this version of Peter look like Tom Holland to appeal to a broader audience. It definitely wouldn't be too far of a stretch. Back when Marvel's Avengers was first revealed at E3 2019, it received backlash because the characters looked nothing like their MCU counterparts. And many fans stated that the developers should have went with the actors' faces, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous, because for one, it was Square Enix's Avengers, and it would cost too much money to get those guys to sign off on that.
Who the fuck cares? They need to do everything the fans tell them to do, even if it costs them their company, because I said so.
I even pointed this out with Marvel Spider-Man, and Insomniac was creating their version of Spider-Man. But this model does look like they're trying to emulate Tom Holland. Funny enough, when this version of Peter Parker was revealed, Tom was actually trending all over Twitter, and Insomniac had to address why they made these changes. One Twitter user asked why downgrade the character, to which Insomniac responded saying that they had to recast as they needed a better match to Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture to bring players next-gen performances.
That's no fucking excuse. They made the face different and that is awful and ruins the game.
And PlayStation Blog went into more details about this, saying, and I quote, "In order to bring the best performances to players with our next generation Marvel Spider-Man games, we have to recast the face of Peter Parker. We love working with John Bubniak on the original game. However, to get a better match to Peter Parker / Spider-Man actor Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture, we have cast Ben Jordan to be the face model for Peter Parker on the PS5 console. He looks incredible in game."
No, he doesn't. Ben Jordan is an awful hideous person who hurts my eyes. I hope Insomniac fires him and he starves to death slowly and painfully. Ow, 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 ow. That would be so fucking funny to see. He would deserve it for being so ugly.
And Yuri's moving performance takes on a new life. And I agree.
That's why you need to fucking go to jail and get the death penalty. Having an unpopular opinion should be illegal and be punished by either life in prison or death.
The performance, particularly the facial expressions, looked way better as I mentioned earlier. The original looked off, and I honestly didn't even realize that he was scanned after a real person, that being John Bubniak. I think the main reason why this model didn't necessarily fit well with Yuri's performance was the fact that they're two different individuals. Others like Doc Ock, Miles, and even Mr. Negative worked so well because their likenesses were lifted from real actual people, that being the voice and mocap actors. This is the main reason I'm looking forward to playing Spider-Man Miles Morales, because Najee Jeter is essentially playing a virtual version of himself while simultaneously playing another character, if that makes any sense. Like, all of Miles' expressions and emotes work well because the model lines up perfectly with Najee's performance. And I'm not saying that two individuals can't bring one character to life, because they absolutely can. Devil May Cry 5 did an excellent job of taking these extremely good looking fashion models and transforming them into these fictitious action heroes.
Oh my god, a game made by Capcom. Capcom is also an evil company who makes games that are torture like Mega Man Maverick Hunter X. That game sucks because it doesn't have any sexy sprites I can jerk off to. All games should have sprites instead of models and be exactly like they were in the 80s and 90s so I can fan to them like
Like, every single one of those characters within that game had a different person providing the voices and motion captures to them, as opposed to just bringing in the actual models to do the voices as well. And that's why Insomniac didn't bring in Peter's model to do the motion capture, because he's not an actor. But the model just didn't blend well with Yuri Lowenthal's performance. And some fans have even pointed out that this new model, Ben Jordan, looks like a younger version of Yuri, which I can see. He does look like he could be Yuri's son in certain angles. But this updated version looks a little too young, because as has been pointed out by many others, Peter is in his mid-20s, so he should look a lot older than this. Like, this version looks even younger than Miles, which is crazy. As mentioned earlier, I think they should have considered going back to John and doing an update scan to complement Yuri's performance, but Insomniac has pretty much put their foot down at this point. When a Twitter user posted hashtag bring John Bubniak back, the community director for Insomniac replied saying not happening.
How dare those fucking super bullies say that? I hope he gets his intestines served up by rabid monkeys and slowly eats for 5 hours all while awake.
So to those of you who thought there was a small glimmer of hope of getting the old model back, I think you better grow to like this version, because it doesn't look like Insomniac will be changing it anytime soon. This version will more than likely appear in Spider-Man Miles Morales, and the devs will more than likely be adding him to Marvel Spider-Man 2.
They better not. If they do, I will go to their company and kill every one of them with my Chaos Boom attack.
Later on, after the dust settled, Marvel Spider-Man creator director Brian Intihar issued a statement regarding the backlash, saying, and I quote, "Today's news about the new Peter Parker face model has surprised some of you, and we at Insomniac totally understand your reaction. Heck, it even took me a while to get used to Peter's new look. But as we discussed the franchise's future and moving to the PS5, it quickly became apparent that delivering even more believable looking characters made finding a better facial match for actor Yuri Lowenthal, who we all love as Peter, a necessity. We care as much about this character as your attachment to him, so please know we didn't make this decision/change lightly. As we did throughout the development of Marvel Spider-Man, we'll continue to read your comments, listen, and always be looking for ways to improve every facet of the game. At the same time, I hope you can trust us that this decision is what we feel is best for the future of the franchise and our upcoming goals for this beloved Marvel character."
They look sick, you're my boy. Now I can have tons of views and likes because I said an overused autistic joke.
So there's two ways we can look at this statement, right? Insomniac is going to continue to go through with this change, which is totally understandable if they do, or they can do something to rectify this problem a vast majority of the fans are having an issue with. I personally think they could possibly do a little bit of both. They could essentially keep the latest face model and modify it to where it not only looks a bit older, but it doesn't look too much like Tom Holland. Because as the creative director has stated, they are listening to us. Like, this kind of reminds me of the whole Black Widow looking like Lord Farquaad debacle from Marvel's Avengers.
It's so funny to say someone looks like a random character.
If you guys remember the amount of heat Crystal Dynamics got regarding Black Widow's massive chin and forehead, they swiftly went in and fixed it later on. And I think Insomniac will do the same with their Spider-Man. Maybe not an extreme makeover, but just enough to make this version of Peter theirs again. But with that, I'm gonna end this video. I want to apologize for getting this video out to you guys so late. I've been having so many maintenance issues going on. Like when I was in the process of making this video, my internet cut off and I had to wait a whole day to get it back on.
Oh my god, who the fuck cares? In fact, I'm glad that your internet was lost. I hope you lose your internet and your subscribers permanently.
And YouTube hasn't really been too kind to this channel in terms of views. There's only a fraction of you guys receiving your notifications when I upload a video, but we just gonna keep it moving. Anyways, what do you guys think about all of this? Are you fine with the updated Peter Parker? Or do you think it looks too much like Tom Holland? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I ask you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down.
You better give this video a thumbs down. I don't like you because you're stupid and you don't deserve subscribers.
Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on my future videos. But if you really enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it greatly if you shared it with all your friends and followers on different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Think after that video is over. This guy is a stupid fucking cunt troll who is ruining our society. Anyways, I'm going to award some copies of the new Battletoads game so no one can play them because I hate that game.